Okay, let me get back to where I was.
Closed session report.
Yes. All right, so first off, closed session report. Conference with labor negotiators gave direction. We also have an announcement to make. During closed session, the board voted unanimously to appoint Lisa Veal to the position of Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. Ms. Veal will assume the position previously held by Dr. Wilds, who was recently promoted to the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services position. Ms. Veal will officially assume this new position immediately, starting tomorrow. However, her transition to the Educational Services Office will occur gradually. She will continue to work with Adams Assistant Principal, Mr. Andrew Estrada, in supporting Adams students and staff during the distance learning and part-time at the district office until her position is filled. Ms. Veal has served as the principal of Adams Middle School for the past 6 years. Prior, she served as the principal of Burney Elementary for 4 years. Ms. Veal came to RBUSD from the Inglewood Unified School District, where she taught at the secondary level for 6 years and served as an instructional coach and secondary assistant principal. Ms. Veal earned her undergraduate degree in English literature from California State University, Long Beach, and her master's degree in educational leadership from CSU Dominguez Hills. We wish her continued success as she takes the challenges of her new position. Congratulations, Ms. Veal. Okay, the approval of the agenda for today was motioned by Raymer, seconded by Brad, 5-0. I need a motion and a second for the minutes for today's meeting, please.
So moved. Second.
Student advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing 5-0. All right. Moving on to reports to the board. We'll start off with employee wellness presentation. Dr. Nicole Leslie.
Good afternoon, board members. Thank you for having me today to share with you about our employee wellness program titled Work Well to Live Well. So we've adopted an employee wellness program. We actually piloted it at 3 schools last year, Burney, Burl, and Paris. And this year we've rolled it out to all employees in RBUSD. And there are 5 key components to the employee wellness program. The first is we ask employees to take a health risk assessment, and that's simply so that we understand and they learn improvement in their own health. The biometric screening we have to kind of postpone until after COVID, but that allows employees to learn their blood pressure, the glucose level, et cetera, so they can see, again, improvements in their health. The Core Health platform was provided by Beach Cities Health District, and it's simply a tool where employees can log on and access the challenges that we're going to talk about in a little bit, and also post on the portal and log points. We have a pre-survey to help us create the program based on employee needs and requests, and then the program evaluation to measure the effectiveness of the program both individually and collectively. The program focuses on 5 elements of well-being. Down at the bottom, we have social, physical, purpose, community, and financial, and so the challenges hit those 5 elements. And last but not least, every school and department has 2 wellness champions, and those are essentially the cheerleaders of the program. They disseminate information weekly to the staff. They encourage folks to participate. They're the ones that are motivating everyone to participate, and so they're the gurus of the program. So let's talk a little bit about the pre-survey results that we started off this year with. The results were, it was 244 respondents. 77% of them are full-time employees. 41% have been in our district for 10 or more years, and 91% are female. The largest age group was from 41 to 50, so about 35%. So what we learned from the pre-survey results were that our employees are experiencing stress. I wonder why. They also, about half of them do feel that the physical work environment does support their employee health and their well-being. And a pretty large percent, 82 of the respondents said that they believe RBUSD does care about their health status and that someone in RBUSD does care about them as a person. And last but not least, a very proud stat is that they were proud to work in RBUSD, and they feel that we value their health. The survey results also gave us some information on what they were interested in for this program, because we want to customize it to our employees to get them involved and excited about it. So you can see there that, majority, an 89%, want to see physical fitness. Obviously, stress reduction management was a huge desire, yoga, financial well-being, career development, and then about half want to re-engage their purpose. So we have some goals, and again, these are aligned to the Beach Cities Health District Live Well program. The first goal is to engage employees in meaningful challenges that do promote the 5 well-being components we talked about earlier: purpose, social, community, physical, and financial well-being. The second goal is to allow staff to learn about their individual risk factors so they can create personal goals and learn strategies and resources that support their health. The third goal is to create opportunities for staff to collaborate and practice healthy routines together. And what's really cool about doing this remotely is that they're able to collaborate with staff outside of their campus, different campuses. So that's been fun. And last but not least, we want to measure and see improved health, again, individually and collectively. These are our outcomes starting at the top. Well, first and foremost, we want happy employees, because happy employees come to work. And we have positive outcomes when people are happy. Also, down on the bottom, we want healthy employees, and we want people to continue to improve their health and be conscientious of their health. Third, up on the top, we want employees to be able to increase collaboration, and this may be one way, and support each other on their health endeavors. Fourth, down on the bottom, we want employees to have fun while they're competing. Work should be fun. And last but not least, we want people to learn along the way, healthy, lifelong tips that will improve their health. So let's just talk a little bit about the challenges themselves. Again, we have 3 challenges this year. They're all virtual. Each challenge is 4 weeks. They each have a daily activity that they can earn points. They're self-paced, and then there's weekly events that employees can participate in. And they can do all of the challenges, some of the challenges, whatever it is that they feel that they inspired to do. Each one has a lunch and learn, and we have 2 to 3 different opportunities because of the different lunch schedules. So we make sure that everyone has an opportunity to participate. The one in February is going to involve a dietitian. Each challenge has incentives, so employees can earn prizes. And last but not least, each challenge encourages staff to have a wellness buddy, because the whole idea is that if you have someone working with you, you can hold each other accountable, you can remind each other, and you can make sure that you're checking in and doing all of the activities and earning your points. My wellness buddy is Jen Weimer at the high school, so we did the last one together. It makes it more fun when you have a buddy. So here are our 3 challenges. We had the first one in the fall. We had 159 participants. We're hoping to have more at our next 2 challenges. The second one starts on Monday, and that one's called Healthy Habits. And again, you can see we're going to have a fitness class, a yoga, even a cooking class. These are all going to be live events that employees can participate in. And then after spring break, we're going to have a financial wellness challenge. We piloted it last year. We had Schools First host the Lunch and Learn. They talked about how to get ready for retirement, even if you're a young new teacher. It's never too early to start planning. So that'll be the one after the spring. This is just a quick look at the February challenge. You can see there's a lot there. There's something for everyone. You have your week, Monday through Friday at the top, and then on you have each week, 1, 2, 3, 4. On the bottom left-hand corner, you can see all the events and the different times. So this is just a one-pager we send out so everyone can get ready to participate starting on Monday. Again, ultimately, the prize is to develop new healthy habits that lead to improved health. But for those who are extrinsically motivated, we have prizes. And just a little bit about the prizes. Fortunately, with the grant money that we were able to get from Beach Cities, we can offer these prizes. There's 3 tiers. Essentially, staff are competing amongst themselves, right? So when you complete a challenge, you get a point, and when you get to a certain threshold, then you get a prize. And so the staff can earn up to 3 prizes during this year because we have 3 different challenges. There's some fun prizes there. So in alignment with our employee wellness program, we have created an employee wellness guide. It is found on the RBUSD website on the Human Resources page, and it does show all of our social emotional resources available to both employees and their families, information about our employee assistance program, and details about our health benefits. It is really a great resource and something that employees can go to at any time when they have questions or needs. So to conclude, I just want to highlight that employee wellness is a priority in RBUSD. We've talked a lot about the whole child, but we also care about the whole employee. And so we want to first thank you for your unwavering support of employee health, even from improving our ability to go to CISC. I mean, there's so many things that you've done, so thank you for your support. We can't go without thanking Beach Cities Health District. They've been a great partner in this. They are with us along the week, every week, sending out reminders and helping us, from Tom Backley, Soya Thatch, Lauren Nakano, and Allie Stewart. They have an amazing team. Can't say that enough. We want to thank our wellness champions. I mean, they are the boots on the ground, really getting people inspired, reminding everyone. And of course, our staff who are participating. And for all of you watching, please sign up, get involved, have some fun. We kick off our next challenge on Monday. Do you have any questions?
No questions, but thanks for all the work, and it's wonderful to see the partnership with Beach Cities Health District, another service that they provide for us for being part of the community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wesley. No, thank you. So, all right, next up, student board member, Charles Stearman.
All right. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to be hosting the next Young Leaders meeting this Thursday on the 28th, where we will continue the discussion of how to increase the connection between students and their schools. ASB is also having a Krispy Kreme fundraiser, which can be ordered online on the ASB web store on the Redondo Union website. They can be ordered until February 5th, and pickup will be on February 11th and 12th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. At the RUHS auditorium parking lot. And all this information will also be on the website. And we will also be starting a fundraiser for the new Redondo Union marquee repairments that we'll be doing on the ASB web store as well. So keep a lookout for that. That's all I'll have. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Keller.
Yeah, so I just need somebody to stack that in. Thank you very much.
What I wanted to do, basically, for you and for our friends at home watching, is to just summarize the next week's activities about the return of students to RBUSD. So I wanted to, nothing flashy. There's no kind of catchy pictures or what have you in my presentation. Just really trying to be short, sweet, direct, and to the point. Sometimes how we like to do things here in Redondo Beach. So some folks wrote to me and said, hey, I don't see an agenda item for this matter. And I remind them that this is straight from the letter that I wrote to parents and staff, in quotes here: postpone the reopening of in-person hybrid instruction for grades TK through 2 and athletic conditioning at RUHS until essentially the week of February 1st. That's what the letter said. That's what we said at the board meeting on January 12th. So quite frankly, we didn't see a need to have an agenda item on this because this is what we told our public and our stakeholders. Staff is ready and excited for a return to TKK 1-2 hybrid students next week, and to resume in-person IEP services, designated English learner services, and athletic conditioning. Now I do want to share, I really want to point this out. We are excited, but we do have some staff members who are concerned, may have some anxiety, and we're aware of that. We're working closely with our staff members who are feeling a little sensitive right now about coming back, students on campus. Dr. Wessey, her office, I know our site principals have worked with those people. And so we're very sensitive to this. This is, COVID reality. By and large, our staff members are ready to go, but we do still have some that we're working intimately and respectfully with to bring them back in a good state. But I will tell you, in this room, the administrators that are in this room, and our site principals, they're very, very eager to get back. Questions. So let's say you have a question. We've said this, we've really been diligent. We had parent input on this multiple times. Our website continues to be revised, updated, and shared to the public with great information. And so we would say, if you have any questions, first go to the RBUSD website. Look under, we have plenty of information there, whether it's instruction, all things safety, all things COVID. I think the dashboard, it's all there. And then we also have some great videos, question and answer sessions that are on our YouTube channel. So check that out. So let's say now you still have questions. Guess who you go to? You go to your teacher and you go to your principal. They would be, for your site, the appropriate people to reach out to and to secure that information. And we, certainly here we're happy to help. But the transition for next week, as children are going back to school, is to really, reconnect with their school site. A lot of information has been put out by the district, will continue to be put out by the district, typically me and others. But we really are, as kids come back, working back at the school site, which is exciting, because that's where the action is and that's where the fun's at. All right, so RBUSD hybrid, just want to remind people, the way we've constructed this is unique to RBUSD, at least around here. As I always like to say, we're not better, we're not worse, it's just the way we're doing it. And we've taken this from best practices in Orange County, San Diego County. We've created a hybrid model that we really believe puts kids first, supports teachers, and creates an exciting environment in the middle of COVID with masks on, at least 6 feet apart, with stable cohorts, etc. So I will tell you, very important that we note that. Flexibility regarding students returning for in-person instruction. I spoke to a parent yesterday who said, look, I don't want to come back right away for my child. However, when and if third grade, the next grade comes back, I'd like for both of my children to come back together because we have daycare issues, we have other issues related, and that would just be ideal for our family. We understand that. That's why this model works again. We do say that if you know you're never going to come back, we want you to share that with your principal and with your teacher, because this model may not be the right model for you. And we've said that all along. And again, that's something you would work with your teacher, your principal. But if you're not ready, but you think you're going to be ready in the next week or two, we understand. Just continue to communicate as a parent to that teacher. And then let's be honest, this model also is the most seamless and less disruptive if there is a need to quarantine. So if we needed to have all the students remain at home, for example, it is seamless, and there's no disruption and a significant change of schedule, if you will. However, students would not be allowed, if there's some sort of quarantine, would not be able to obviously come to school for in-campus learning. So we follow very strictly, I just want to make this clear, I don't want there to be any ambiguity. We follow LA County Department of Public Health's guidance and protocols. That is not something we've swayed from. We've said this all along. Originally, we were probably more connected with LA County Office of Education, but as we learned the other bureaucracy was really taking over this process, it really became our local Department of Public Health. And I think that needs to be stated very clearly. And then wanted to note here too, as we follow the protocols, we still, especially as we have more students come back, let's fully disclose this, let's not go in with eyes closed, we will have more COVID cases. I'll pause. We will have more COVID cases. We've never said we wouldn't. We are a district that, vertically is as good as anybody around, and I mean that sincerely from whichever classification, whether it's, custodians, whether it's, our office assistants, our nurses, our teachers, our other classified employees, AFT, management. We're a solid organization of 1,350 employees. However, still, the transmission of COVID is real, and it is obviously, in our community, and therefore it is on our campuses. Learning safer practices. The one lucky thing we do have, not lucky, but not lucky at all, but a very specific action we took is since June 11th, we've had CDC back, and what that has allowed us to do is really refine our practice, our protocols, and improve upon our and eliminate essentially our mistakes, because we have made a few in the way of kind of managing the COVID documentation and those kind of procedures. Nothing that has hurt anybody, But from a documentation, from a management standpoint, we definitely have improved because we've had these other populations on campus, which has helped us significantly. And then in the way of sharing with our community, we really are trying to make this push that we can't do this alone. It's, I've said it before, the sidewalks that surround our schools do not create a barrier between school and community. There's a synergy there that is significant and real, and especially heightened in COVID. And so we tell parents and staff, please also follow LA County Department of Public Health guidelines and protocols at home and away from school. It's an interesting piece. Social media really does share some people's practices pretty clearly. And so for those out there being not exactly following the guidelines, I would say to you, please, if you're coming on our campuses, the LA County Department of Public Health website is pretty clear. Our website is pretty clear. We can't do this alone. This lift is a collective lift with our larger community. So please, please join us in this pursuit of trying to keep the transmission as low as possible. Kind of moving into the vaccine, this is a sensitive one for me because I just want to be clear. The vaccine, I tell people this now, is, for me as an example, the vaccine is for me. It's not for me, Stephen, the superintendent of Redondo Beach Unified. It's not for me in my job necessarily. That's a value added. It's for me, it's for my family, it's for my friends, it's for the people I connect with. And of course it's for Redondo Beach Unified School District, our kids, our community, our staff. But I really want to encourage people, if you can get the vaccine, if you're an employee of this district, if you can get the vaccine now, go get it. Don't wait. Don't wait for Redondo Beach Unified to somehow be told that we're going to have the vaccine available in our community, maybe with Beach City's Health District, and that's our goal. We have many staff members who have already gotten the first dose of the vaccine, some who've already had the second dose. Small percentage, but we are hustling. We have some staff members who have been creative because their job title doesn't necessarily allow them to get the vaccine, but somehow they're creative. I don't need to know how they did it, but they're getting the vaccine in their arm. Whatever it takes to get that vaccine in your arm, do it sooner rather than later. I encourage folks to get the vaccine. We're working with Beach City's Health District, of course, to secure and administer this process in our community. Nevertheless, I don't have a timetable. I couldn't tell you when this date's going to be. So this is not our core business. However, we're going to make it our core business if we can. But I just really want to emphasize this is something you do for you first, your family, and of course to support what we're doing here. And just staying on that piece, as an example, on February 4th, I know Beach City's Health District is providing a vaccine Q&A session itself. We couldn't wait through our reopening think tank and through other sources and working closely with Beach City's Health District. Allie Stewart from Beach City's Health District and also Tom Backley support, the CEO of Beach City's Health District. And Ricardo, our great assistant, they've created 6 Q&A vaccine virtual sessions with Dr. Cull, who is obviously on our think tank, and also Dr. Kim from Beach City's Health District. I saw both of them yesterday, 2 slightly different approaches, same message, and answered in each doctor, Dr. Cull and Dr. Kim answered any question a staff member had, and they made themselves available to answer any future questions. So we're providing this information, obviously encouraging our staff members to take the vaccine, to get the vaccine, but also we're understanding that some people, for whatever reason, may not be able to take it. We're respecting that. We're encouraging, but we're respecting the individual choice of our staff members. And I think that needs to be made very clear. And as of today, and by the way, let me go back to that. Just a reminder, February 4th, I think collectively in the community, you can watch at 5 o'clock Beach City's Health District doing a separate Q&A vaccine with multiple medical doctors there and I believe therapists and psychologists as well. So I think it is something to watch, and we'll send that information out, and I'm sure we have already. And as of today, educators fall under the Phase 1B, Tier 1 of the vaccination or vaccine process. And so currently Los Angeles County is in Phase 1A currently. We were hoping we would be part of a February rollout as educators. And when I say educators, it is educators. As you know, some of our nurses, other classifications have received the vaccine. But we are, we're being told as much as we're getting closer to us, the actual supply is very limited of the vaccine right now, and so there's plenty of information you can watch on television, in your local, in your newspaper you read, and elsewhere. But we are supposedly coming next, and I don't think that's going to change, although there are some changes based on what we're reading by the state and elsewhere. Again, we are excited to open our schools to these grades and to our vulnerable populations, English learners, special ed, and reopening our high school athletics. We're excited about that next week. Staff here at the district office is going to be there. Our secondary administrators are going to be at the sites. We are going to have a lot of folks watching, helping, appropriately distanced, of course, the entire time. We ask for, this is a big ask for the community, so I would ask everybody to read this slide of all the slides. Please, we ask for patience. We ask for care to and for one another, being kind, as Dr. Wild says, having some grace, kindness and understanding. And then as we return to campus, agility along with a little safety along the way, especially in the parking lots. We're not just talking about, COVID safety, but getting back to our old routines of drop off and pick up. Just everybody breathe. And this is a good example. Anybody who knows me, any meeting of mine starts 5 minutes early. If it starts at 10, it's 9:55. If you show up at 9:58, you're late. Guess what? Next week, if we're a little late, it's okay. It's going to be okay. So everybody take a breather. Everybody take a breath. We're going to get through this together. And for those that are just on a mission, drop off and get out of Dodge, and so your kid can be on campus. Just take it a little slow next week, and we will do the same as staff members. And so, what I like to say is, let's go. We're excited to say this to you for next week, and we're thrilled to be bringing back the populations that we shared earlier. And just when you thought that was it, Dr. Wild has one more piece of information for you.
So thank you, Dr. Keller. Thank you for indulging me for just a minute. I had the best day today. And so I wanted just to take a minute to kind of share with you all. In 20 years than I would like to count, I have never seen hundreds of high school students joyfully come to campus to be excited about standardized testing. Today was January 26th, and if you know anything about the College Board, they are not typically an entity that's known for their flexibility. January 26th was the last date that the College Board set forward to take the PSAT NMSQT. I had to say that about 20 times today, and I still haven't gotten it right. So we didn't have a choice in the date. If we did, we obviously would not put it on finals week at the high school. But it was hyper important to us to make sure this was one more thing we didn't take away from our kids. So if you had come by the district office this morning, you would have found the parking lot empty. District office, teachers, staff, site admin, we were all at Redondo today. So I want to share a little bit. Unfortunately, I can't show you what it looked like inside the classroom with the kids because that will get me in big trouble with the College Board. But we were all at Redondo Union today. We had 262 11th graders were administered the test today. We had more than 30 proctors, school site. Those proctors were school site administrators, district administrators. I proctored the test. Dr. Alpern proctored the test. Dr. Wesley proctored the test. We were all there today. Teachers and our counselors. We had dozens of classified staff for logistics, screening students, campus supervision and support. We were providing our kids grab and go when they were done for the day before we could send them on their way. We administered the PSAT testing in cohorts of 12 with one stable proctor. You can see a picture inside the classroom of what it looked like pre-students. And the test was approximately 4 hours long. And you can see on the bottom, that's where all of our proctors were converging this morning around 7:30 to pick up our test materials and greet kids. It was amazing. I want to thank every staff member, every student. I've never seen 262 students follow the rules so well. They were lined up. They had their materials. They had masks on. There was not one student we had to ask to put a mask on. You can see how they were. And you'll notice there were very few people having to remind them. They came ready. They were excited to be at the high school today. At the end of 4 hours, and it's a long 4 hours to sit in a seat and take a standardized test. This is not a test that anyone looks forward to. One student in my particular group was kind of lingering. And I just was, he was not a student that I had at Alta Vista, so I just was, you doing okay? And he goes, I just want to tell you this was the best day. And I go, you took a PSAT test. It wasn't the best day. He was so happy. And then as I was walking out and I was returning my test materials, one of the campus supervisors said, this day was great because schools should not be this quiet. So I want to thank you all for supporting PSAT, 262 kids. I am so proud to get it honestly doesn't matter what their scores are. They got to come to campus today and they were so happy. So thank you all for letting us do that.
And that's all I have, thanks.
I think that's a great example why we need to fight to get the high school kids, high school seniors back on campus at some point.
Yep, agreed.
150%. All right.
Can I say one thing?
No,
As
of
one of
course.
a parent of an 11th grader, thank you for doing this. And there were so many members of the reopening think tank committee there today. There were custodians, there were classifieds, there were the high school admin team. I really think Dr. Keller may have been the only person in this office today. Even Mr. Kinsey was there, Ms. Silverling, everybody was, it was really an all hands on deck, and it was completely optional for these kids to participate, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving them this opportunity. And again, who cares about the test scores? At least it's not another thing that we are keeping. It just shows us what we can do when we all work together, so thank you.
Okay. Hearing section. We have 2 written requests and we have 3 public comments that we will be reading. So I'm going to start off with the ones that are here. We'll get to speak first. Just as a quick reminder. What? Huh? Is that better? I'm right in front of it. Is that better? There we go. Okay. All right. So, just as a reminder, we have 2 public comments, 3 that we're going to read. The 2 public comments are here in person. So, just reading real quick. Members of the audience may address the board on any topic regardless of whether it is listed on the agenda. However, due to Brown Act regulations, the board cannot engage in public discussion on items not on the agenda. Topics not on the agenda, which are brought to the board's attention, may be investigated by the administration and a report made to the board, either publicly or privately at a future meeting. Comments from the visitors shall not exceed 3 minutes unless the time is waived by a majority of the board. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and number of persons wishing to be heard. First one up to speak will be Candace Nafisi. Come on in.
Good afternoon, board members and staff. My name is Candace Nafisi, and I'm the mother. Do I need to wear this? Sorry.
You need, yeah.
Okay, it's just hard to speak. I'll try to loosen a little bit. I'm the mother of 2 children at Barrel Elementary, and I really want to applaud the board and staff for starting kindergarten on February 1st. And I just want you to know that we've been pushing so hard because so many of us are so emotional about what is happening to our children. And while there's a lot of emotions that roll, I want you to know that we are so worried about our children. So we are so excited that you're standing by your commitment to open on February 1st. Our entire home is preparing for this. I hope that you continue with it. This is a monumental life change for my little guy. And anyone that knows anything about social emotional health, you'll know that this is big in their little life. As you continue conversations for reopening schools, I hope that you consider monthly town hall meetings to inform our parents of what's happening. Parents want more information and they want to know what the next steps of the reopening process are. I beg you to please put 3 additional parents on the reopening think tank so that parents can uplift their concerns to you and that they feel heard and they feel like their concerns are being shared with the board and administration. And lastly, I hope that you prioritize the vaccinations of the teachers. To say that our hands are tied, I hope that you guys are going the extra mile to do what you can do so that they can, come back to work and feel safe. Long Beach has already began vaccinating teachers. So whether it's signing an MOU with Long Beach or Pasadena, these other cities that are already doing it, please be innovative. Please think outside the box to get our kids back to school. We are ready. I know many people are ready, and I respect those who are not ready. And I hope they take the chance to keep their kids at home if they're not. So I just wanted to say thank you for all I hope you consider all of these requests. And I hope you continue to move forward on February 1st. And on behalf of my community and those that think like me and want to have their kids at school, and on behalf of so many that are struggling and have even reached out to me, who are so scared to come speak for whatever reason, for their neighbor judging, or because they have an adult kid who they can't share their stories, just know that we're really, really excited that you're moving forward, and I hope that you continue this process with the other grades. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Karen Cull.
Hello, my name is Karen Ford Cull, and I'm a candidate for the school board election. And I've come today to introduce myself. I have been a parent in the district for many years. I have 3 children, a senior at the high school and a freshman, and also one still at Alta Vista. I'm an educator by background, and I have a PhD, and I also have many years of service in the district. I was the chair of South Bay Hands on Art, and I'm also currently a PTA president. I've been watching you guys on YouTube, and the last few meetings, I have to say that it did not look like you do an easy job. And I want to applaud you for the heavy decisions that you've had to weigh, and thank you for your empathy for the teachers and your empathy for the wider community, but also to thank you for your concern for the children and their need to be back on the campus. The disagreement that was amongst you in the last meeting is just a reflection of the disagreement in the whole community. When I talk to parents, I hear many different kinds of opinions, but what we all agree on is that the children need to be at school, and that the enemy is the virus, and that the solution is the vaccine. I want to ask everybody to come together and support the teachers when we go back. This is a new experiment. The teachers have never tried this before. They're trying something that sounds a little impossible, to teach children in front of you and to teach children at home at the same time. So they're going to need a lot of support and a lot of grace. And I also think the time now is to focus all of our attention on how to support the children. There's children who have not played with other children for a whole year, who have had no contact, and they have to relearn how to be at school, and they have to relearn how to play with other children and not be the most important person in the room. And so I think we really need to focus our attention on thinking about how we deal with the emotions that the children have about this transition. I also want to ask you as a board to direct the staff to look for more children who are vulnerable and need to be brought back to campus for in-person support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, so as I said earlier, we have 3 letters that have asked to be read here at the meeting, so I'm going to go through the 3 real quick. First one, dear board members and Dr. Keller, we have a kindergartner and a 2nd grader at Burrell. Please consider our thoughts on the topics below. Timing, I commend the board for following LA County's recommendation to defer the TK through 2 reopening till February. I also implore the board to continue to follow the recommendation from health experts. When you have made the decision to join the board, I am sure you didn't anticipate having to contemplate decisions that could mean life or death in consideration of a pandemic. Given the continued dire nature of cases and hospital capacity in our local area, please continue to defer to those who are experts in the health arena. It is not okay to choose a date and stick with it come heck or high water. We are in a rapidly changing environment and decisions need to be made and revisions based on the best available data. We have been and continue to be resilient and flexible in this time. Topic of data. The data presented at the last meeting shows that 0 kinder families at Burrell in option 1 were opting to stay home. Please check the data. I responded that I would not yet return in option 1. I know of other families that did the same. The data is misleading and inaccurate, showing that 100% of families would return. Under the topic of hybrid, the teachers have been amazing in the distance model. Our students and families have adapted to the distance model. The in-person hybrid model is a step back in support for our students and parents and caregivers. The hybrid option puts an additional burden on our parents, caregivers who will need more oversight on asynchronous days. They will also lessen the interaction our students have with the teacher and classmates that they formed a bond with. We prefer more live interaction, even if it's virtual. When the time is right to return, could the board district consider an option to allow students to continue in the current distance learning model with daily live instruction and classroom interaction as a third alternative? We know that this may mean a shuffling of teachers and student assignments, or adjust the hybrid model so that there's more interaction on asynchronous days. The students do so much better when they're able to receive instruction from their teacher. Thank you, Bart and Adrian August. Next comment. Dear board members and RB community, during distance learning, I have stretched myself to teach my combo class of 4th and 5th graders. I have learned and adapted a new curriculum to fit distance teaching in addition to the already heavy task of modifying and digitizing a curriculum for 4th grade. I am competent. I have 16 years of teaching experience. I have a strong work ethic. I have supportive grade level team members and a supportive administrator, but that is not enough. I have dedicated several of my non-contracted hours after school and on the weekends at the expense of time with my family or virtual time with my friends or just time to relax and take a breath towards staying afloat and serving my students to the best of my ability, and this is also not enough. It is truly an absolute shame that this is still not enough for some members of our parent community and some members of our board. We must all draw the line somewhere, and to me, I must draw the line at returning to campus against the county recommendations and with the death toll this high. I interact daily with my parents who are over the age of 70. My uncle is in his 80s, and my brother who is immunocompromised. I cannot put them at risk. I also understand that some TK-2 teachers are in a similar position because of the February 1 return date. Will our students continue to learn with us via Zoom, or will they return to class with a series of substitutes? I know that our return date is not set for upper grades, but I stand in solidarity with the TK-2 teachers, and I'm disappointed that some of our community members have chosen their own welfare over the welfare of others in such a selfish manner and during such difficult times. Emma Cueva, Alta Vista Elementary. Last comment. Now that Newsom has removed the need for a waiver, how does this affect the public schools? He's looking at county metrics instead of individual city metrics for the waivers. Will you be submitting the CSP form regardless, so when and if we open, RBUSD is not at the bottom of the pile? Lisa Drexinger. That concludes any written comments, and I believe anybody that's here. Moving on to the communications. Start with RBTA.
Good afternoon. I'm Monica Joyce, President of the Redondo Beach Teachers Association. Dr. Keller spoke to many of these issues, but I want you to hear RBTA's perspective. RBTA continues to have strong concerns about the return to on-site instruction for our students. Our concern is based on data. Per Beach Cities Health District, as of January 24th, ICU bed capacity in the Beach Cities is still at 0%. As of January 24th, there are over 2,300 positive confirmed cases of COVID in Redondo Beach. In our country, over 900 children have died from COVID. Over 300 teachers have died from COVID, 2 last week. Per the LA County Department of Public Health data set, the largest age group with positive COVID results is in the age group of 5 through 17. Opening on site right now comes at a great risk to our students and our staff. What does give us hope is the possibility of getting the COVID-19 vaccine, and it is critical that our members have access to it. We know that teachers are in Tier 1B to receive the vaccine. Those staff who are actually working on site with students should be the first in line when vaccines become available for RBUSD staff. Staff should be given the opportunity during the workday to get the vaccine. As we know, wait times have been long to get the vaccines, and teachers should be able to work asynchronously on that day so that they can receive the vaccine. We're also very concerned about the validity of the RBUSD COVID-19 dashboard. The dashboard only reflects the cases of staff and students who were on campus while positive. The dashboard does not reflect the number of people who are exposed. It does not reflect the total number of staff and students who have tested positive in our RBUSD community. Since winter break, there have been numerous RBUSD staff who have had COVID, but this was not shown on the dashboard because they were not reporting on site. We continue to be very concerned about the number of subs available. This will be critical when more teachers are on site. We've actually had staff members who are COVID positive but continue to work from home because their symptoms were not severe. Anyone who's ever had to write sub-plans know it takes hours of planning, and sometimes it's easier just to power through a school day, if your health permits, instead of writing sub-plans. Teachers could do this in remote learning, but this is not possible during on-site instruction. We also wanted to make it clear to parents that if their child is not returning to on-site instruction next week, they may stay home for a while. If parents have no intention of their children returning, they must go to the 100% online learning program, Schools PLP. We ask that everybody in the RBUSD community follow safety protocols. Please limit your exposure to those outside of your household. This is not the time for parties, get-togethers, hanging out at the beach, on the strand, and slumber parties. We all have to do our part. Thank you.
Thank you. I do not see, or not aware that CSEA, AFT is here. Anything for PTA or RBF?
The Redondo Beach Council PTA is delighted to be partnering with the League of Women Voters to host a forum that will let you virtually meet the candidates running for election for school board and hear their vision for the Redondo Beach Unified School Board. The forum will be moderated by the League of Women Voters and will include all 8 candidates running for 3 vacant school board seats. The event details are as follows. It will be held on February 2nd. You can sign in from 6:30 to 7 p.m. and the forum will begin at 7 and run until 8:30 p.m. There is an RSVP for the event. You'll see it on the rbpta.org website, and all of our schools are also sending out this flyer. That's what I got for PTA.
Great. And then one quick correction, just for clarity. Lisa Veal will be taking the Executive Director of Educational Services. We announced the Assistant Superintendent and basically made Ms. Veal and Dr. Wilds the same position. So just
Extra
want
promotion.
yeah, it's a joint job. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So well, she's coming here either way. It's all good. So, but just for clarity for anybody. So. All right, moving on to general consent. Is there any items that anyone wishes to pull?
Nothing.
10.5.
10.5. Okay, so can I get a motion for 10.1 through 4 and 10.6 and 7?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, student advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing 5-0, okay. Motion and second to pull 10.5, please.
Move 10.5 forward, moved.
Second.
Very good. Mr. Christensen.
Yes, 10.5 is a recognition of Career and Technical Education Month. And I felt it would be important to recognize that we have at our disposal and to remind all of those in the district that we have a premier career technical education resource. Not only do we have this available at Redondo High School in certain areas, but we also have it available through the Southern California Regional Occupation Center, SoCal Rock. SoCal Rock is available to high school students virtually right now. And I think when I do my remarks at the end of the meeting, I'll give you a few statistics and talk a little bit about the enrollment levels and the courses offered. And then, of course, we hope to see, as secondary schools start to open again, hopefully yet this year, we'll see some offerings available at SoCal Rock. So just to let everybody know, CTE is alive and well and critically important for not only the students who are not necessarily college track, but even college track students that would like to have a little extra experience in areas that might help them in their career choices. So let's recognize this and let's remember we have this resource available.
Very good. Any other comments?
I'll second Mike.
Okay, student advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing 5-0. Okay, moving on to action items. 12.1, award to lowest bidder for Lincoln Elementary gas line project to Vern Plumbing. Motion and second, please.
So moved.
Dr. Alpern.
Yes, thank you. We are requesting the board approve an award to the lowest bid to Vern's Plumbing for a very large project of replacing a gas line. It's a perfect kind of a bid process because you'll see the attachment. There were 3 bids. They were all within like $3,000 of one another, and Vern's Plumbing beat the bids. So we're requesting your approval on this.
Okay, any questions?
Can you give a little background on that line replacement? And since many of our schools are similar aged, is there a reason to inspect other facilities?
I believe I did provide update information in a previous Friday update to you, but it's a couple hundred feet of a gas line that was identified, and it's really rusted out. And so we do regular inspections, and actually we have the deferred maintenance fund that you place dollars in every year for projects just such as these.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, student advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing 5-0. Moving on to item action item 12.2, initial proposal of the Donna Beach Unified School District to RBTA. Motion and second, please.
Moved.
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Wesley.
At the last board meeting, we asked you to publicly present the RBUSD initial proposal to RBTAs so that we can begin negotiating the 2021-22 school year calendar. So we are recommending that you adopt the RBUSD Sunshine proposal so we can begin those negotiations. And our goal is to bring you a recommended calendar to the next board meeting.
Thank you. Questions? Student advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Hearing 5-0. Moving on to unofficial attendance and enrollment. Any questions? We should all have this enrollment so well. Permanently.
99.0%.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to beat, I mean, short of 100%, but yeah, the most kids are coming is, I mean, and getting online is good. All right, so that's an information item. Discussion item, received for reading, first reading, board policy 6146.1 for high school graduation requirements modification. Dr. Wilds.
Good afternoon. So this is the first reading of Board Policy 6146.1A, the high school graduation requirements. So just to kind of remind you, a little less than a year ago, in the spring of 2020, the board adopted an amendment to this policy that reduced graduation requirements from 230 to 220, in alignment with California Education Code's minimum set of requirements. However, the board policy stipulated at the time that this reduction was only for the class of 2020 only. And I think we were hoping at the time COVID would be over. I think we can all agree class of 2020 is probably the least impacted as opposed to 21, 22, 23 going forward. At this time, we're presenting this first reading that makes a minimum of 220 credits for all students going forward. This is an adjustment that provides grace and flexibility for all of our students impacted by COVID, the COVID emergency school closures, not just current students, not just current seniors, and it brings RBUSD into greater alignment with the state and surrounding South Bay districts. Additionally, you're going to see this board policy is also reflected of new law AB 1350, which authorizes districts to award a retroactive diploma to students who were in good standing and on track to graduate at the end of 1920, but who were unable to complete those requirements due to COVID.
Any questions?
I noticed that it moves from 3 to 4 English classes.
4 is our current board policy.
Okay, 'cause I
Yeah.
was going to say, I thought we had
We just
that.
wanted to make sure that that continues in alignment.
Okay, so that
Yep.
wasn't an edit to existing, it was an edit to this. Okay, because I was going to say, when did we go back to 3?
No, we didn't.
Anything else? Thank you, Dr. Wilds. All right, we're moving on to correspondence. And I'm going to kind of mix correspondence that we've received as a board with my kind of board report. I kind of wrote things out just to keep it, just so I can remember it, but here we go. The board and I have received correspondence electronically regarding a group formed by a parent or group called Open RBUSD that I wanted to specifically address. The opinions here are mine and not speaking on behalf of other board members. This group continues to spread misinformation about how things at our RBUSD, and so I wanted to take the opportunity to address these things head on. To start with, the leadership of this district for the past 13 plus years under Dr. Keller and his team has always been and remains transparent on how we operate. The administrative staff, the teachers, front office staff, maintenance, CDCs, and everyone else, in my opinion, has always put our children and our community first. I have nothing but respect for all that they do. We can disagree on how the matters are handled or addressed, but this focus has never wavered. As a board member for almost 8 years, I take personal offense to the misinformation that is out there. To imply that all the hard work that has gone and been done over all these years should be completely discounted in a matter of a month or so due to a group of parents that don't think we do enough, we aren't transparent enough, that we are hiding things, and that we must do more, to me is frankly insulting. The pandemic has been a moving target for almost 10 months now, with twists and turns at every corner. We have received numerous correspondence, multiple teleconferences per week, and have new policies from our county and state that show up and can literally change again within a few hours. Starting in March, from our initial conversation with the county and state, we were told that we would only need to close for 2 weeks. Dr. Keller advocated for 3 in order to keep us with spring break for continuity, and that we would return to school after spring break. We made this decision to review for those 3 weeks, and as we expected to return. Just before spring break, it was changed, and we were told that we were going to be remaining online indefinitely, and had to pivot immediately on how instruction was done and change everything in a blink of an eye. Did we stumble along the way? Absolutely. Is it anyone's fault? We can always point fingers, and there's always fault, but no one ever took the eye off the ball, that being the welfare of the children in our community. Fast forward to summer, the staff and a dedicated group of parents and people met regularly and planned our reopening, created contingency plans, prepared our campuses for additional safety measures, implementation of training of our admin and maintenance staff with the new realities, and prepared our campuses to return in the fall, only to be told by our county and state officials at the last minute that we would now return to online learning for the fall. Thankfully, because of Measure Q, we were prepared on the hardware and some software pieces, but now had to create a whole new online curriculum, prepare for additional contingencies, and then make it happen in a very short period of time. Great efforts were put forth to pivot. Additional time was allocated to get our staff ready for the new reality of the fall, and we opened a week later than planned, but in a new teaching environment that was uncharted waters. Not ideal, but nonetheless, everyone put their best foot forward and has been committed to educating our kids as best as possible. As a parent, I've seen the challenges of distance learning with my own child, and my wish was that he was in school in person on the high school campus from day one, and that has not changed. However, our local control decisions changed as a result of the pandemic and what a local board has authority over in returning to the classroom. As we all learned in high school government, county laws will supersede local, state will supersede the county, and federal laws can, in most cases, supersede the state. In this situation, it is no different. We are bound by the rules of the county, even though the county is large. I wish it was regional, but we have been unsuccessful today to accomplish that. Regardless of the change in dynamic, this hasn't changed my resolve to get kids back in class, in person, on campus. Despite the challenges of remote learning, I have found my teachers available, offering any form of help and going above and beyond, not because I'm a board member, but because they care for kids. It doesn't mean it's perfect, doesn't mean there isn't room to adjust or improve, but nonetheless, always doing what is right. As it relates to the waiver process, when the rules came out per initial guidelines, RBUSD was unable to initially qualify to apply, which is why the district delayed, not because we didn't want to return. As has been the case throughout the pandemic, the guidelines changed within 2 weeks and allowed us to immediately apply following our next meeting. We received our approval a few weeks later, shortly before Thanksgiving, and the district immediately began planning to return within a few weeks, as we've stated many times. My vote to forego returning the last week of school before winter break was out of respect to all of our families and staff, to not introduce new cohort groups just before the holidays, which could have caused potential quarantine issues. At the same time, the community numbers were increasing and many families planned to travel during that time. My vote at the emergency board meeting on December 30th to postpone was based on the numbers continuing to rise further and capacity issues at our local hospitals being at or above capacity. At this time, communication was started that we called a meeting and was inferred that we had done a bait and switch, which continues to be stated and implied in the community. I was very clear at the meeting in December that an emergency meeting would be called if the numbers increased. I review data daily and use local, county, and state numbers. As an elected official, we receive both public information as well as confidential information, which we sometimes receive and cannot share. It is my obligation to take all information and make a decision based on the information that I have received. Fast forward to our last board meeting, the county was clear that we were advising us to hold off our reopening. Although I believed it was time to open, the decision to remain closed stood. I will note that all surrounding public schools that had reopened, even for a day or two, had to close, causing a start-stop approach which is disruptive. I stand and support the decision to remain closed. I will, however, not stand for the continued misinformation that's going out, that we are hiding things, that we aren't transparent, and certain groups of parents encouraging them to hold car rallies, honk their horns, do Zoom outs to protest and demand RBUSD to open. To me, this does nothing but disrespect all the hard work that everyone here, our staff, in any capacity does day in and day out for your kids. The only ones that suffer in this scenario is your kids by telling them not to attend class. My decision to return to school is based on facts, science, and direction that we receive from our county and state. If you are unhappy with the policies that the school district and its governing board must legally follow, created by the county and state, then please help us advocate and work to change them. Could I have voted to open in late December or early January and returned? Yes, of course. What would have happened? Your child would have been returned to you back home for 3 weeks. What would that have accomplished other than disruption of lack of continuity? Now the same correspondence is being sent out that we won and that we forced them to reopen. Let me be clear. We did win because our children are returning back to school. But the opening is based on my promise at the last meeting that we would return as long as the numbers didn't get worse, not based on threats. Many parents have reached out to me to convey that they've been wanting school open and advocating for it, but also want to be clear they no longer wish to participate nor support these tactics. It is my sincere hope that this very small but remaining group of parents will put forth energies to help continue advocating our county and state officials and the new administration to get our staff vaccinated and return all grade levels back to school, not just the levels we have currently been received approval for. Many other states have accomplished this, some since the beginning of the school year, so we know we can too. But your anger at RBUSD is misdirected and will not resolve anything and strictly punish the population you say you're trying to protect, which is your kids. Many other emails have gone out regularly, publicly, or direct correspondence wanting us to open middle and high school. Now, I am sad to say that local control is not currently in place, so we cannot just open up schools now. For now, the district has been given permission, like every other district around, to open TK through 2 if they have a waiver, and only at the board's direction. This board, administration, nor any candidate or anyone else has the power to override a county or state policy. The county and the state is our only governing authority, at which point we can offer a return to middle or high school. I continue to advocate our county, state, and federal officials to allow all students to return back in person in class, but I need your help. Let's be part of the solution. For those who aren't ready, I get it, and I'm grateful that our dedicated team worked it out so you can keep your same teacher while you return next week or in a few weeks. Finally, my decision to return has and always will be based on facts, not on pressure from outside forces or promoting other people or avenues that would act differently. If the recommendation is to ignore the law, I will not do it, nor will I put the risk of our long-term autonomy as a district at risk. As long as I can legally and as safely as possible return children to school and protect our staff, this will be my focus and direction, as it should be for all people. We should not be accepting anything less. Board member reports. Mr. Christensen.
Thank you. We had a Southern California Regional Occupation Center meeting this past week, and I wanted to share a couple things with you. So if you want to take a look up at the screen, the past few years, we have tried very hard to keep costs down and to find as much funding as we could. Luckily, AB 99 provided $10 million of assistance in place of the normal funding that had gone away prior to that. And I wanted to give you a little snapshot in time. This is the daily cash balance report from last week. And as you can see, we have kept spending pretty tight, and we are carrying a balance in our accounts at SoCal Rock of a little over $11 million. We have more revenue yet coming in this year. Our expenses are quite low this year for obvious reasons. So just to let you know, even if we needed to, even if we had zero additional revenue, there's enough money in the till to keep SoCal Rock open for a couple of years. And there are some aggressive efforts going forward to find more revenue. We have a great new board. New board members have come in as part of the normal rotation. I'm very encouraged. They're pushing very hard on SoCal Rock administration to look at new funding. We're getting ready to roll out a very aggressive campaign to rebrand, to refocus, and to engage more of the community, both in terms of the users of SoCal Rock graduates, but also the contributors, people who would, also students and families that might be able to educate there. This is just a snapshot of what the past few years have been in terms of revenue and expenditures. As you can see, we spend typically about $5 million a year at SoCal Rock. Revenue's gone up and down. You see the contributions that came in under AB 99. That money did not get spent. That basically got banked. So we have that money in reserve to help out in whatever transition we're able to do. And then the other thing that I thought I'd let you know, this is the census of high school students that are attending SoCal Rock right now. Now, as you can see, El Segundo, Manhattan, PV, and Redondo have been keeping a certain number of students engaged at SoCal Rock. Now, this is far, far fewer than we normally would, but, and these are virtual, they're online. Unfortunately, Torrance is a little low there. They're by far the larger district of all of them. But we have kept 100 students. We have 100 enrolled right now, and there's more. The new spring classes are out there, and we hope to get the same. So I just wanted to let you know that we have a viable CTE offering that has so far made it through COVID. There are a lot of adult students. We have a couple really great adult offerings that have kept revenue coming in and kept a lot of students doing. A welding program has been at the top of the list. Because CTE is considered for those essential functions allowable for in-person for adults. So as we shift into the future, the adults will probably be a pivotal element in keeping the funding coming, because it still is a very cost-effective tool if you're an adult and you want to get that kind of training, and let that leverage our ability to get our high school students in there. So I just wanted to give you a shot at some recent information that came down from SoCal Rock. And that's President Sorkin, that constitutes my report.
Thank you.
And Mike, 4 years ago when I was there, we talked about rebranding. So remember my suggestion when you go back to them, SoCal Tech for Southern California technical education. Just take the career out of it. It's a very brandable name.
Mm-hmm.
So bring that back to them, because there may not be anybody there that remembers.
Can I ask one question, Mr. Christensen? Thank you for taking this on for the school board, is that being on that board as well. Are they considering adding more computer programming classes, other variety in their curriculum? One, and two, how are our high school students hearing about the opportunities at SoCal Rock?
Oh, good questions. There is some consideration of additional computer programming. We've had a third party that has come in that is offering to help with that, and we're considering their proposal. That we have to also coordinate with what is going on with our local community colleges. And there is an ongoing dialogue, I think, as you had noted in some of our Friday reports, and an effort to have some meetings with El Camino to coordinate. So we need to be careful and not be, competing against someone we'd like to be collaborating with instead. But we do have a third party that is looking into, that is offering that, and we're looking into that collaboration. The other question?
It's more about how high school students, and it's probably not for you, it's probably for
Yeah,
Dr. Keller or one of his team.
It's largely through the high school counseling offices of the JPA districts that reach out and do this. But that is precisely what the current branding and outreach program is doing. It's examining other ways we can do this. There are some great social media tools that we can engage. There are also those who are outside of the JPA districts that we can have conversations with. They pay a different rate, but we have the ability to do that. But I would say to the cabinet here, please watch for an outreach that's going to be coming to our counselors at Redondo Union to look at maybe some fresh branding and some fresh offerings, and a real push that's going to occur over the next couple of years, especially as we go back in person educating, that we can take full advantage of what CT is being offered, along with the normal channels of communication through the counseling office.
Thank you. Mr. Weller.
I will thank you for your report. I was planning on making a statement of my own due to that and other things that are going on, but I will refrain and just leave it as just thank you for your statement.
Mr. Wicken.
Sure. I want to start out by making an apology, and that apology is to the teachers of the district. The last couple of board meetings, I made what I thought were strong arguments to return to school. simply based on the fact that I think it was good for kids, and I was presenting data that I thought brought a new perspective to the discussion, because so much of the discussion was about case counts, rightfully so. But I really wanted to keep the focus on the kids. But in no way, like as I reflected over the last few weeks, in no way did my advocacy for the kids mean to reflect anything negative about teachers. And in actuality, the teachers of Redondo are fantastic, and I have so much respect for them. I did before COVID, but I have even more respect for them after COVID. And I think they have stepped up their game immensely, having to adjust to distance learning. And they are unbelievable, and I applaud what they've done, and also what the TK through 2 teachers will be doing February 1st. And it's a new scary time for all of us, but I obviously think it's the best thing to do. But I just wanted to make it very clear that the teachers are great. My problem is with the medium of distance learning, just not cutting it enough to prolong this any longer than we had to. But the teachers are great. And Monica, personally, I respect you immensely. I totally understand your advocacy for your membership. You're great. We disagree, but it doesn't mean I think any less of you. And we're embarking on this journey together. So that's all I want to say, but also I'm obviously very excited that at least TK through 2 is coming back, and I can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Kramer.
Thanks. I also thank you for your words, everyone's words here, yours, Mr. Whitkin. It has been an honor to serve with every single one of you on this board. It was certainly not what any of us expected, certainly not the lowest tenured on this board when I joined the school board. But as Dr. Keller mentioned, when you said the vertical line from every single person elected who works here or participates in the school district, we couldn't be more of a team and more dedicated to bringing our kids back and our teachers back safely. And while we have had disagreements, and Mr. Serkin and I spend a lot of time together working, trying to navigate this, trying to come up with creative solutions, trying to advocate, doing whatever we can to make sure we're doing the best for kids and teachers. So I just want to thank all of you. I appreciate all of you. The teachers are amazing. The parents are amazing. The students are amazing. And we have been resilient in the face of constant change. And we're going to be resilient again when we bring these kids back to school. We're going to try something new yet again. And we're going to do it together and with grace, as Dr. Weil said. And we'll make changes as we need to. This model allows parents to keep kids home who are sick. It allows teachers to be home and allows subs to be there. We've got some flexibility here that I'm excited for us to get started to try. And as one of the 26 members, along with Mr. Christensen, on the reopening think tank, we will continue to come up with ways to bring all students back within the guidelines of the law, what we can do safely. And I just hope that we're all a little bit extra kind to one another as we try something new yet again. And thank you for leading us in that.
Thank you, Raymer. All right, moving to the tail end here. Calendar of events. February 9th, we get to come back here again. 4 o'clock open session. February 12th is a holiday. That's that Friday for Lincoln's Day. No, it's Friday. It's Friday the 12th. Yeah, the 15th is the day. It's on our agenda, but we are back in school on that Monday, I believe. Unless I'm wrong. Am I backwards? I'm backwards. I apologize. You're right. So I corrected it last time and I got it wrong this time. So you are in school on February 12th. That says on the agenda that you're not, but we are in school. It's not a 4-day weekend. It's a 3-day weekend. Monday the 15th we are off. And then 23rd we are back here again at 4 o'clock. Any future agenda items?
None?
I do. Can we have an update on the Race and Equity Committee at our next meeting? Because I know we've made some great progress there.
Yes.
Great. Hearing none, can I get a motion and a second for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Student advisory vote?
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing 5-0. Have a good night.
Good night.